Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the DC Camp Branch Great Millstone. Back for another video, but first and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKodash. Of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I'd like to also send out salutations to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways, not to mention the numerous videos that go out on the daily. They help spread the truth out across the four corners of this earth. All right. So, what we have here, and this is just, at this point, why you would expect anything from these demons, these so called white people. Uh, that's why we're so fond of Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. They are going to be our reparation. They made it clear, and this is just another instance of them making it clear that they're not going to give us shit, but they will give everybody else. This is African diaspora. And this young lady here, Vicky Dillard, she's going to go into the State Department and the Armenian genocide that happened back in 1915, actually through the 20s. But it has to do with New York Life, the insurance company, right? So let's go ahead and get a load of this shit.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. I'm sure some of you all remember my coverage I did some months back on Armenian migrants who come to the United States of America and get up to $100,000 in tax write-off. How many of y'all remember that? It caused outrage in the backlash. And of course, I came to discover that information after I was covering the fact that what's his name? I'm tripping right now. Ukrainian migrants. Zelensky and them people, I was thinking of Zelensky's name, but Ukrainian migrants that was coming to the United States, remember they were getting SSI money and all kinds of other benefits and checks and jobs and stuff that we don't get. Now these Nazi Ukrainians, some of them are actual, literal, no exaggeration, Nazi Ukrainians that are fighting a proxy war against Russia on behalf of the United States of America and her Western allies. They get to come to the United States and get money out of Social Security that they don't even pay into. How in the world does that happen? When the process.
Let me pause it right here because you better believe in the case of American veterans, of which I am one, and others that are watching this, and lo and behold, some of those are the same ones that be criticizing Jake because they think that we're begging and we want to hand out no reparations for us, whatever their arguments or counter arguments are. But now they're starting to see that by all appearances, America is all about taking care of its quote unquote allies and the people that fought for this motherfucker, that took the oath. And not only that, American citizens, and they're so quick to offer aid to everybody but the American citizen. Armenia, the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, that happened over there. The issues with the Holocaust that happened over there. What about your people here? Here in DC, of course, I'm pretty sure you're aware now that they're cleaning up all the homeless encampments. There's, of course, about making DC clean and all that. There's arguments for and against the antagonizing of Southern Kingdom Jake, in which I, in my videos, was like, why are you laughing, you Southern Kingdom Jakes? Why are you laughing at Northern Kingdom? Ah, see, that's what you get for not knowing the history and not, well, hey, it's all out here. Plenty of videos and all that history to get, but you choose not to. So that's why you have Jake running around here like not understanding what's going on. Hey, that's your fault. But back to the point, you make all this effort for people that aren't even American citizens. Like she just said about the Ukrainians, and I hope for those of you that are just seeing this, that are new to this, you understand that those Ukrainians and people of that sort, they're the same ones that are occupying the land of Israel and are, slaughtering those people over there. They're one and the same. So it's like they're double dipping. They're getting this, they're fighting this proxy war for America. And they're getting all these armaments and just shitloads of money. And then there are people that are occupying Israel. They make out like fat rats because they get, might as well call it a stipend, every year plus armaments, in the billions. And overall, it's the same people that are the banking elite. So you see, this has been a money grab of theirs, getting the people to feel pity and, for them. And they've gotten filthy rich off of this scheme. And that's what it is. It's a scheme. All right. So here are the people that are really suffering, that are really owed because you had all these broken promises. All right. And this is what's due. It's not a handout, but you go out of your way to say in so many ways, fuck you. And I'm talking about the so-called blacks that are over here. All of us, but like, damn. And it's frustrating. It's because I'm looking at some of these town halls and, this point has been brought up, especially the one in Cincinnati, where the old Jake, he said, why are you so quick to sweep under the rug? He actually said table, but sweep under the rug what's happened to us. He made a direct reference to, but you don't with those Ashkenazi Jews. And that's just the thing. And that Vivek Ramaswamy, who he was talking to, he asked a question to, he danced all around it. And it was just basically just, fuck you, I'm not going to address that. If you care to go and look at it. It was pretty sad. It really was. Here, this guy, he's an immigrant that his let's just call it what it is. He's kissing the ass of these Edomites, and they straight out told him, Ann Coulter directly in an interview, she would never vote for him when he was running for office. Because you're an Indian. He got thrown out of Doge, because he actually told the truth about how lazy the so-called white people are. All right. And how, wow. And yet he still got his nose and lips firmly attached, to their backsides. But in any case, let's get back to this. First, let me read the disclaimer because, of course, I'm using a video. This is a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, so we got that out of the way. Let's go back to the video.
Of that is when I learned about this, because one of our black tax writers blew the whistle and snitched on, talk black to me somebody. Well, family, The State Department just recently did a press conference on a peace treaty between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Watch this clip.
In the middle of war, sometimes all it takes is one hot meal, one plate, one smile, one child who forgets.
The declaration of peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan has reaffirmed that President Trump is indeed the president of peace. Last week, he hosted the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan at the White House, where they signed a historic joint declaration for peace after decades of bitter conflict and too many lives lost, a landmark achievement for international diplomacy and an end to violence that only President Trump could deliver. The two leaders also signed bilateral economic agreements with the United States, unlocking the great potential of the South Caucasus region in trade, transit, energy, infrastructure, and technology, and creating new opportunities for the American people and American businesses. This achievement follows negotiated peace arrangements between Cambodia and Thailand, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, India and Pakistan, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Serbia and Kosovo, in addition to the remarkable achievement of the Abraham Accords. President Trump continues to prove that nations across the globe can move beyond long-standing conflicts of the past toward a shared future of peace, prosperity, and success.
Now, I know y'all like, Vicky, what are we as FBAs and even those of our black family around the world talking about Azerbaijan and Armenia for? Here's why. Because Donald Trump, as you can see in this piece, as of the time of this airing, just signed 24 hours ago from the time of this airing. I'm reading from Reuters. Azerbaijan and Armenia published text of U.S. brokered peace deal. You see Trump sitting here in the middle, you know, U.S. President Trump, Azerbaijan's president sitting here, Mr. Aliyev, and Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan posed with their documents during a trilateral signing event at the White House. Watch this now. Let's do a little bit of this. Armenia and Azerbaijan published a text of a U.S. brokered peace agreement on Monday, pledging to respect each other's territorial integrity and formally put an end to nearly 4 decades of conflict. The deal was struck in Washington last Friday when Azerbaijan's president Ilham Aliyev. Now, your name is pronounced based on Mississippi from Vicky Dillon, so everybody's going to agree that this is all right. I'm the original black woman, so it's right. Lighten up. Oh, family, please. Okay, that's his name today. That's how you're going to pronounce it, Lisa. We're going to pronounce it. It says the Armenian president, Azerbaijan president, and then Armenian prime minister, rather, Nikol Pashinyan, met with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House. I just mentioned that. The text agreement, which was initialed by the country's foreign minister, says that Yerevan and Baku will relinquish all claims to each other's territory, refrain from using force against one another, and pledge to respect international law. It says that this agreement is a solid foundation.
And if you were like, well, you know, like me, you know, like, what the hell has this got to do with, you know, oh, it's coming.
For establishing reliable and lasting peace, the result of an agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan that reflects the balanced interests of the two countries. Armenia and Azerbaijan, neighbors in the South Caucasus region, have been locked into conflict since the late 1980s. It talks about the mountainous region that this entails and so forth and so on, with the southern end of Karabakh mountain range. Within Azerbaijan, Baku took back full control of the region in 2023, prompting almost all of the territory's 100,000 ethnic Armenians to flee to Armenia. The European Union, NATO member Turkey, and Russia have welcomed the accord, although Moscow, a traditional broken ally of Armenia, was left out and warned against foreign meddling. Now, this is crazy. Now, y'all probably saying, well, what this got to do with us? This is what it's got to do with us. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? What it's got to do with us is my breakdown that I did some months ago. The fact that the Armenians in the United States was getting $100,000 in literal reparations right off with the IRS. Well, the latest information I pulled up says this. It says, here's an overview, and you can even pull this up yourself for online news, among others. You can even pull this up on AI, where it says here's an overview of potential tax write-offs for individuals and businesses with ties to Armenia, focusing on U.S. tax implications, as contributions directly to foreign entities generally aren't deductible in the U.S. For individuals, U.S. citizens and residents, foreign earned income exclusion, that's known as FEIE. If you live and work in Armenia and meet either the bona fide residence or physical presence test, you can exclude a significant portion of foreign earned income for U.S. taxes up to $126,500 in 2024. It talks about how foreign tax credit, it goes on to talk about if you pay income taxes to the Armenian government, you can claim a dollar for dollar credit against your U.S. tax liability on the same income. This helps prevent double taxation, especially as the U.S. does not have a modern bilateral tax treaty with Armenia. It talks about the charitable contributions, all the different things that you can get written off. It talks about business U.S. based with Armenian operations and investment. And it tells you about consulting the tax preparation persons and all these other kind of folks, right? But when you go down further, I want to specifically talk about the reparations. Yes, reparations that the IRS pays Armenian migrants, allows them to write off rather. Now, I'm happy to say that when you first pull it up, one of the first things that pops up is IRS tax prepared leaks Turk Armenian migrants 100,000 reparations from Vicky Dillon. That's one of your first sources, yes? But when you actually go to the IRS website, you will see that we have tax treaty. Yes, Armenian tax treaty, where they are getting six figures, can get up to six figures write-off based on a tax treaty that we have with Armenian for them to get reparations for a fight that they had over there. Now, Foundation of Black Americans, we're told we're not giving one red cent for building, creating America. But these foreigners get to come over here, and the IRS, the U.S. government IRS, gives them reparations in the form of tax write-offs. Now, if we continue to appeal to Congress for our reparations, if we use the judicial system for our reparations, and that continues to take time, right? There's something that can be done immediately almost if Trump and the powers that be just simply make a phone call and file the necessary paperwork and demands of the IRS.
Funny how that happens, right? Well, get a load of this. This is a 20 million settlement for Armenians, the descendants of some 1.5 million Armenians who were killed nearly 90 years ago. Now, this report came out, let's see, in 2004. All right. In the Turkish Ottoman Empire will share in a 20 million settlement of a lawsuit for unpaid life insurance benefits. The settlement with New York Life, insurance company, announced Wednesday, will help bring justice to survivors of those killed during a deliberate, systematic, and government-controlled genocide that began in April 1915. But where? Over there. Brian Kabatek, an attorney of Armenian descent who represented the plaintiffs, of course, right, said the settlement is a step toward winning U.S. recognition of the Armenian genocide when they don't even want to admit to what they did to us over here. Wow, amazing how that works, right? Hopefully, a large company like New York Life paying a settlement will go a long way toward achieving acknowledgement. And then I said, wait a minute, I've heard that somewhere. And one of these companies that was built off of our backs, right? Look at this. This is from Pushback. The company's built on the backs of our enslaved ancestors. And lo and behold, New York Life, number 2. Like Aetna and many other insurance companies, New York Life got its start by selling life insurance for enslaved people to their owners, thus directly profiting off the slave trade. When we bring up scriptures like Psalms 83 and Jeremiah 15:5, let me get those. All right. Number 1, when you go to Psalms 83rd chapter, it tells you, now, let me do this. What is the definition of a conspiracy? All right. Conspiracy, an agreement to perform together an illegal, wrongful, or subversive act. Ooh. A group of conspirators. 3. An agreement between two or more persons to commit a crime or accomplish a legal purpose through illegal actions. Let's look at that subversive. All right. All right. Subversive as an adjective, intending or intended to subvert an established order, especially to undermine or overthrow an established government. In the sense of a people, you're constantly sabotaging them and their efforts. And that's exactly, all right. Let's see. 2, tending to subvert, having a tendency to overthrow and ruin. All right. Let's go into, let's see. Cambridge. Let's go to dictionary because I want to get some of the synonyms. All right. All right. Subversive. Let's see. Bringing all this up. Other word forms. All right. Counter. Let's see. Word history. No examples. Related words. Incendiary. Riotous. That's not what I'm looking for. Let me get the. You use so many. Let's see. Vocabulary.com. That might be it. It might be the free dictionary too. Let's try this one. If it'll load, I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay. Oh man, come on with this shit. Salakia. But yeah, and I'll might as well get the scripture while this is loading. This is Psalms 83, and let's start at the top. And it says, "O Most High, do not keep silence." All right, that's the heading. Verse 2, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult." All right, and then when we go down, well, let me get, all right, a tumult. All right, Strong's H 1993, to make a loud sound, by implication to be in great commotion or tumult, to rage, war, moan, clamor. All right, disquieted. All right, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up a head, and they are some proud devils. They have taken crafty counsel. Crafty means what? Strong's H 61 and 91. All right. Let's see. In a cunning fashion. Let's see. Be prudent. Deal subtly. All right. Against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. All right. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." And it explains itself. All right. As a lot of scriptures do. You just have to. All right. So, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate. All right. Let's see. All right. A compact or pact, P-A-C-T. All right. A covenant between our enemies. And that's exactly what they have done. Let's see if this is loaded yet. I gotta do this crap. Free dictionary. All right. Subversive. Intending or intended to oh crap. Consent. Whatever. Anyway. We already read that. Let's see. Come on. I want to get some. Let's see. Subversive. Let's see. Let's see. Seditious, okay. insurgent, and that's the let's see. I want to get the one that has the list of. Dang it, I keep forgetting which one because it's not often I do this. Let's see. Let's see if it's Collins. All right, let's see. Underground. Okay, more synonyms. Let's get. All right, let's see what we got here. God dang it. All right. Seditious. All right. Undermining. And oh, that's a good one. They undermine us at every step. All right. I already said riotous, perversive. Okay. That's another good one. I think you got it by now. All right. Dissident. All right. Terrorist. We were terrorized. Still are. Saboteur. All right. So there you go. And that's not the end of it because, let's see, they get the $20 million settlement, like I said, with New York Life. And we've already established that company is one of them, same one. Like Aetna, these insurance companies, they directly had a hand, all right, in our misery. But hey, it says Armenians have long asserted that 1.5 million people were executed between 1915 and 1919. So we're talking about First World War, right? By Turkish authorities who accused them of helping the invading Russian army during World War I. Turkey rejects the genocide claim and says Armenians were killed in civil unrest during the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. So they're not, I mean, it says France and Russia are among countries that have declared the killings a genocide, but the United States has not made such a declaration. Attorney Mark Garagos, who is Armenian and represented the plaintiffs in the class action federal lawsuit, said this is the first lawsuit of its kind settled in a U.S. court by a private entity. Let me read that again. He says Attorney Mark Garagos, who is Armenian and represented the plaintiffs in the class action federal lawsuit, said this is the first lawsuit of its kind settled in a U.S. court by a private entity. New York Life really stepped up to the plate, he said. But again, when it comes to us, we're sorry. We'll initiate what do they call those things? What is it called? Yeah, dug it. They always tell us when it comes to us, uh, you know, making demands of something that's substantive. And again, this is not a handout. This is for those things that were promised and were never dished out. All right. In other words, they lied. All right. But oh, what is it? We're going to establish a commission or some shit like that to make a study, and it'll be another, couple of years. It's always shit like that. All right. But like she said, they don't have any problem. I mean, quick, fast, and in a hurry. They all of a sudden magically they find resources for these people. All right. Oh, you think that'll make you mad? Get a load of this. This is Columbia University. What they did because of what happened on October 7th, we're coming up here on the 2-year anniversary of that, that shit going over there with the Gaza. And they, lied about what started it and everything, and this was allowed to happen so they could do what they're doing now. All right. And the U.S. was in on it. All right. So what happened here when all the protests started, when all the protests started, they had a Jewish staff there at the university. Well, let's just read it. It says a look at details of the settlement between Columbia University and the Trump administration. A deal between Columbia University and the Trump administration calls for the Ivy League school to pay more than $220 million to resolve multiple federal investigations into alleged violations of federal anti-discrimination laws. Okay, well, okay. Now let's see what this is about. All right, it says the agreement announced Wednesday clears the way for the school to keep billions of dollars, because this is what Trump threaten, all right, to take their patents, all right. Yeah, yeah. So with this agreement, they get to keep all that, all right. It says, in return, the deal calls for a number of reforms in areas such as admissions, campus protest policies, but that's not what they're worried about, really. All right, and its curriculum, including a number of changes to school agreed to previously in March. It is a document President Donald Trump's administration is calling a roadmap for settlements with other colleges accused of not doing enough to address campus anti-Semitism. Columbia University's acting president, Claire Shipman, said it protects the school's values and autonomy. Now listen to this shit. The university will pay the federal government $200 million over 3 years. It will also pay $21 million to settle alleged civil rights violations against Jewish employees that occurred following October 7, 2023, Hamas attack on Israel. And also, the university agreed to end programs that promote unlawful efforts to achieve race-based outcomes, quotes, diversity targets, or similar efforts. Columbia, as part of the agreement, must also issue regular reports to an independent monitor, all right, assuring that its programs do not promote unlawful diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. Get a load of this. The agreement pushes Columbia to limit the consideration of race even beyond the Supreme Court's 2023 decision ending affirmative action. We don't owe these people anything, but that's a good thing because we never really were the chief ones benefiting from it. It was because, see, they always got to put in a back door for them. And that back door was for the so-called white woman and the LGBTQ. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, boy. There you go. So these motherfuckers, because their feelings got hurt, all right, they get to split up 21 million, but nothing for the people that continue to get the short end of the stick by design. All right. And let's just face it, never will. That's why I mentioned at the beginning, our reparations is, I might as well get it, Revelation 13 and 10, where it says, all right, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And like I said, they let you know continually, fuck you, we're not giving you shit. All right, this is Jeremiah 15 and 5. But you have to know, all right, we did this. This is our punishment playing itself out. Thankfully, there's light at the end of the tunnel. This is Jeremiah 15 and 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? No one else. There's this little, well, not so secret war, but it's something that a lot of American so-called, American Jakes are not aware of, but these devils, what they managed to do. You have Jakes from the Caribbeans and that come over here from Africa, especially when they get into politics. The CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, as they were called, if you notice, more and more they're pushing for immigration. Okay, but you're elected to the American House of Representatives, Aren't you supposed to be? You see where I'm going with this? And that is a strategy. That's a strategy of theirs. In that the whole thing about what's pushed with, you know, all this immigration and all this. Well, that's always been designed to weaken us. And then the thing is, not only that, but they come over here with mad disrespect. And you all kinds of videos where people are saying we're tired of that shit, but we understand that's a strategy on our enemy's part, because trust me, they know about the prophecies. All right, they're getting Northern Kingdom out of here, and like I said earlier, we warn Southern Kingdom, Jake, don't be laughing. Again, they don't understand what really is going on. All right. So yeah, there you have it. Man, companies at New York Life, J.P. Morgan Chase, Tiffany, CSX Transportation, USA, USA Today. Wow, get a load of that. All right, and there's a lot more where that came from. That's just a short list. All right, but again, all they're gonna say is, "We're sorry." Yeah, it's like was it Isaiah 42 and 22? Because they figured out that little, you know, let's see. Like I said, they don't give a shit. So my thing is, why should we? All right. I'm not advocating for anything stupid. I'm just saying because again, Christianity has done one hell of a job on our people, in that they think that you taking this so-called what you think is a high road, being some sort of moral paragon, and constantly getting screwed over by your enemy. Well, that was by design too. And uh, again, not understanding the scriptures about, you know, loving your enemy, all right, and, slapping one cheek and, wow. Mm. Anyway, this is Isaiah 42 and 22, and it said, whoops. But this is a people robbing spoil. Who is it talking about? The Israelites. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. That's your prison industrial complex after child slavery. They are for a prey which continues, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. We're sorry. Let's go. It says Strong's H for spoil, 4933 to plunder. We're booty. All right. That's what we are. All right. That's what we are. We were brought here to be slaves, and with all the building of settlements to get away from them and attempt to be on our own, they couldn't stand it. And they always looked for a means, an excuse to undo. That's why I brought up that subversive, all right, and that Psalms 83 about, they being Confederate and all that. They know what the hell they're doing, all right. Now, therefore, knowing who we are. All right, so that's going to be it for that. Again, this is how that video was about done. State Department makes shocking statement on Armenian migrants getting 100K, and this is IRS write-offs. See, everybody gets help, and then they come over here with that. Well, I came over here, and with $2 or some other stupid shit, and worked hard. No, you didn't. You got help like this. All right, some more help than this. So once again, I hope whoever views this video is edified as to what's going on. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. And once again, remain circumspect out here. It's very important, all right, because your life could very well depend on it. All right. So with that, until the next video, Shalom.